So dopamine and GABA are both produced in the gut. So if you've been on a lot of antibiotics, if you've been eating antibiotic-rich meats, there is a large chance that you've destroyed those bacteria that are going to make these key neurotransmitters, and fasting is going to bring it back. Dr. Mindy here, and on this video, I'm going to talk about the 48-hour fast and how it can boost your neurotransmitters. If you're new to my channel, I just want to say welcome. I'm on a mission to get 1 million people here this year to really discover the art of fasting to better their mental and physical health. And those of you that have been around for a while and you share my videos out and you dive into all the videos that I put here, I just greatly appreciate you. And you know we are going to end chronic disease with the tool of fasting. So thank you guys for all of your support. And if you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification button so that you can benefit from all the great videos that I put out. So it's fast training week. I'm going to dive into the 48-hour fast. I want to really talk about two things around fast training week. One is a new thing that's really exciting, but the second is if you're not familiar with fast training week, this is where we take a 5-day period as a community and we exercise our fasting muscle. And this week, we're going to practice the 48-hour fast. So I'm going to show you how to go into a fast. I'm going to show you how to come out of a 48-hour fast. And I'm going to show you why the chemicals in your brain will change as you go into these longer fasts. So each day next week, there's going to be a video explaining neurotransmitters like dopamine and GABA. And I'm going to show you foods that can calm your brain. So we have a lot to unpack over the next week. So make sure that you're watching each video that comes out. And the new and exciting thing is our fast training weeks are now sponsored by Element, when we're going to do something really cool for you guys. So each day of fast training week, we're going to give away 1 box of Element minerals. Now, I want to point out how generous this offer is by Element. Each one of these packets, a box has 30 packets, and they have all the minerals you need to make sure that you're getting the appropriate mineral balance back into your diet while you're fasting. All the details on how you can win a box is in the companion guide. So just put companion guide in the comments, and we'll make sure that you get the free companion guide, and I hope you win. Okay. Let's dive into the neurotransmitters that keep you happy. If you are late to the physiological reason behind happiness, I want to fill you in on something for a moment. The world has taught you your circumstances need to be right in order for you to be happy. But that's not how the brain works. The brain, you can actually change the brain in order to see more happiness and perceive more happiness if you have the right neurotransmitters. And fasting can help you get those neurotransmitters lined up. It can help you boost those neurotransmitters. It can help you open receptor sites for those neurotransmitters. And there are 2 neurotransmitters that are going to benefit your happiness levels the most. I think that's a personal preference. But the 2 are dopamine. So dopamine is the neurotransmitter that makes you feel joy, makes you feel satisfied. Unfortunately, it is dopamine we're getting when we go to our phones all the time, and the dings and the likes, those are all dopamine stimulating activities. We also get dopamine a lot when we are eating. Just going to reach for your favorite food will produce a dopamine reaction in your brain. So when I say dopamine, I want you to think joy and satisfaction. You want dopamine, you want the receptor sites for dopamine to be open so that you can have a joyful life. The second neurotransmitter that will really be helpful for your happiness levels is GABA. Now, why GABA? GABA calms the brain. And you're going to see over this fast training week that we can really influence GABA by the production of ketones. So when you have GABA rising in your body, what happens is it turns off a nutrient called glutamate. And glutamate is what will start to cause your brain to fire in a highly anxious state. Well, what we know about fasting is the longer you fast, the more ketones you get. The more ketones you get, the more glutamate shuts off and GABA kicks in. So over the next week, we're going to be working on these two neurotransmitters to keep your happiness levels at their highest. Now, I want to start by talking about what some of the symptoms of low dopamine might be, because I think it's very clear that dopamine makes you happy, but low dopamine can show up in other ways. I'm just going to list these off for you because I think they're really interesting. So other signs of low dopamine are chronic low back pain, constipation, weight fluctuations, sleep disorders, fatigue, attention difficulties, reduced sex drive. We also have symptoms of low GABA that are more than just being in an anxious state. What we know is when you have low GABA is that you are feeling chronic stress, depression, you might have memory problems, chronic difficulty concentrating, muscle pain, headaches, insomnia, and it is also associated, low GABA, with the increase of substance use. In fact, with both of these neurotransmitters, a lot of times we reach for food, we reach for alcohol, we reach for drugs to bring these neurotransmitters up. But what we don't realize is those activities deplete those neurotransmitters even more, which is forcing us to start to want to reach for these substances even more. It's a vicious cycle. This is why we're going to use fasting over the next week to undo that cycle. So the last thing before I step into telling you how we're going to fast next week is I want to talk about what depletes these two key neurotransmitters. So, and I'll just rapid fire the list. So lack of sleep, extra weight, specifically high BMI and obesity, drug and alcohol use, eating bad fats, increase in stress, and antibiotic use. So dopamine and GABA are both produced in the gut. So if you've been on a lot of antibiotics, if you've been eating antibiotic-rich meats, there is a large chance that you've destroyed those bacteria that are going to make these key neurotransmitters, and fasting is going to bring it back. So that leads me to the fasting question, which is, okay, you're listening to this and you're like, yep, I got low dopamine, I got low GABA. In fact, put it in the comments if that's you. But what I want you to realize is that there's a specific style of fasting that is going to help bring these two neurotransmitters back. And it ranges from fasting 24 hours, where we really start to reset the microbiome, all the way up to 48 hours, where we start to open dopamine receptor sites back up and we start to improve dopamine pathways. So next week, we're going to take the middle of the week and we're going to do a 48-hour fast. So we're going to push the limit and see what we can do to really reset dopamine receptor sites for you next week. So here are the rules, and this is how it will go, is that we have 5 days. If you're brand new to my channel, I just want to reiterate, we do this one time a month. We have 5 days, Monday through Friday, where we are going to take this idea that we can use fasting to improve dopamine and GABA, and we're going to bring every tool I possibly know to help these neurotransmitters flourish. We're going to bring every tool I possibly can into this week. So this is how it will work. So Monday and Tuesday of the week, you are going to fast a minimum of 13 hours. If you're new to fasting, this is your first spot. If you've been fasting for a while and want to go deeper, you can. But bare minimum, we need to go 13 hours on Monday and Tuesday, and we're going to avoid 3 key foods. These are the foods that are making you miserable. These foods may seem like they're not making you miserable when you start to first eat them, but they are making you miserable. So they are the bad oils, they are the processed, refined flours and sugars, and they are toxic ingredients. Now, in the companion guide for Fast Training Week, I've laid out these 3 key horrible foods. And I mean key foods, they're ridiculous foods that is in our food system. I want you to avoid those, and I want you to do the 13-hour fast. Okay, on Wednesday and Thursday, you are water fasting only. Now, Wednesday, you will not eat a meal. You will, if you need something, get yourself some Element, and you can put these packs in water. It's a nice little break as you're drinking water all day. But Wednesday, there is no food. There is only water. If you want to do coffee, we have some requirements in the companion guide that we talk about coffee and how you can use that during this fasted window. On Thursday, you're going to wake up and you're going to fast all day. And then at night, when you hit that 48-hour mark from the last meal you had, which would have been Tuesday night, you are going to break your meal with 2 key foods. Now, last month, I taught you my 4-step process to break a fast. What we're going to do this time is you are going to do a broth. If you're not a vegetarian, do a bone broth. If you are, do a vegetable broth. And then I want you to follow that with a probiotic-rich meal. So this can be a salad without meat. This can be sauerkraut. This can be any green leafy vegetable. This can be a steamed broccoli. Anything that is going to enhance your feeding your microbiome. So we are going to refeed with that. And no animal protein that night because you went 48 hours without food. The next day, Friday, you are going to avoid the 3 horrible foods, and then you're going to fast for a minimum of 13 hours. So that's how we're going to sandwich it together. If you're confused, just put companion guide in the comments. We'll make sure that you get a link. But that's how we're going to dive into raising dopamine and raising GABA so that your happiness can flourish, your brain can work right, and when you're happy, the world is happier. So let's just, instead of just making everybody healthy, let's make everybody happy. And let me know in the comments if you're joining me for this fast training week. Hope that helps.